Welcome to episode 4 of the Driving the Difference show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me this morning is Edward Smith, Chief Investment Officer of TWUSuper. Welcome, Edward. Thank you for coming in this morning.
A pleasure. Thank you, Jacqueline.
So this morning we're going to talk about what TWUSuper does and some of the trends in super at the moment. If you'd like to elaborate on that for the moment. Thanks, Edward.
Yeah, certainly.
And what do you do?
TWUSuper is the superannuation fund for people in transport. So we have round about 100,000 members with $6 billion under management, which sounds like a lot, but in fact that puts us as one of the smaller superannuation funds. An industry superannuation fund, which means that our board of trustees is comprised of 50% employer and 50% employee representatives. And our main role is, of course, to provide our members with financial security in their retirement.
Great. So you would have seen, and your board, is that comprised of men and women? Just for our diversity, so being International Women's Day yesterday?
There is a woman on the board.
And everybody's working towards that. It's not an easy thing to do to get that parity at the moment anyway. So I think everybody's working towards it, and we will get there eventually. Would you like to talk a little bit about how the super funds coped during COVID and how the employees that you cover coped during that period?
Well, for our superannuation fund, I mean, every fund has been different, but we were nervous about financial markets at the start of 2020, not because of COVID-19, which hadn't really appeared on the horizon yet, but because the pricing of markets seemed to be quite rich. So we were positioned conservatively. We were holding unusual amounts of cash. And of course, that positioning turned out to be precisely the right position to have. So we actually weathered the storm through the first quarter of 2019 quite well. And of course, after the first quarter, having got quite a bit of cash available, it meant that when the markets had fallen quite dramatically by March, we were in a good position to reset, reinvest into equities, and we've been going quite well through that whole process. As for members, it's been an extremely tough time for everybody, and transport workers have sort of mixed outcomes. We have a lot of transport workers, for example, who work in airports, and they were obviously adversely affected.
Of course.
Others are delivering to supermarkets who are doing quite well. But the net effect is that we did have a lot of members withdraw. They're up to $20,000 as part of the superannuation sort of withdrawal schemes. And consequently, on average, they have diminished balances to where they were before.
Of course.
So that's an issue that we would be encouraging members to try and recover from that.
Yeah, and they could recover that, I guess, slowly by increased input through their wages, through their salary when they're back in work, or if their hours recover as quickly as possible.
That's what we'd suggest, is make some additional voluntary contributions.
Yeah, and you said 2019, but I know you meant 2020 for the first quarter.
Sorry,
but
yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
I get confused as well. I keep saying last year and it was 2018. So the thing for that is, I think, obviously you've been involved with Transport Women for a long time now. I think you just told me outside 8 years. So we get a lot of advice from you, from Transport TWUSuper, and our workers, of course, are a part of the essential workers, so we were very fortunate that most of the workers in trucking and in logistics itself stayed working. So, as you said, they wouldn't have been impacted a lot, but your aviation, of course, would have been affected enormously.
Absolutely.
By that. So I think, and do you see that as a very, very slow recovery still, that they will still not really find their jobs back for a long time?
Well, for aviation, to get back to where they were, we need international borders to open. And I don't think the prospects of borders being fully open is a near-term prospect. I am optimistic that with vaccines being distributed around the world, that borders will be able to open sometime soon, but it'll be a slow and gradual process.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think it's very hard to predict what's going to happen, even in the transport industry. But obviously, we're coping more than others because people have to eat and people have to have the necessities of life, which we provide every single day, and that's what we keep trying to preach as well, that's what we need. And through that, obviously, as I said, you've given us great advice over the years and you've supported us in everything you do. And you continue to do so. You're speaking at our conference in May and you're sponsoring that conference as well. So with your company, obviously you have very diverse management. We're here because of Zoe. And we see at our functions you have a lot of young women in your association, your company. I'm not really sure what the structure I could call it, and that is something that you. Obviously, other than your board, that is something you encourage to get more women into the super industry?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and in the transport industry.
Of course. Yeah, and we're doing that all the time, of course, through a lot of our initiatives, and which, as I said, you've been very supportive of, but through our mentoring and our driving program and our scholarships and all of that. So and we hope, obviously, to continue our relationship and to draw on you for more super advice. I need as much super advice as I can get because I just waste my money, spend it as fast as I can on international travel. So that's changed a little bit over the last 18 months. So is there anything else you would like to say to us about TWUSuper and how they can support the industry, or how the industry can support them? Would you like to finish with that?
Well, I think for women in particular, one of the things that we're very well aware of, that when women and their superannuation, women often take breaks from the workforce to have children, and when they go back to work, quite often they want flexible roles, which tends to mean that their superannuation balances are not as great as they really need to be. And that's a problem for all industries, but we've sort of recognised that and tried to help with any sort of lobbying that we can do and any support to help women make up those contributions, in much the same as we'd encourage people to recover their contributions from the early release scheme.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Edward, and hopefully you've enjoyed your time on this. We'll close there now. Thank you. We'll be back in a few minutes with the next section of Driving the Difference Show. Thank you.
With over 20 years of combined recruitment experience, Bastion is your trusted advisor for sourcing leaders. Technical experts in supply chain recruitment, Bastion uses a proven customer-focused delivery. Speak to a consultant today for your recruitment needs. Bastion, experts in sourcing leaders that deliver change.
Welcome back to Driving the Difference Show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me is Penny Murphy from Interlink Insurance Brokers, a transportation risk specialist. Welcome, Penny. Thank you for coming this morning and getting up so early over there in Western Australia.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to it.
So Penny, could you just let me know a little bit about Interlink Insurance Brokers and what they do and your role there for starters?
Yeah, sure. So Interlink Insurance Brokers, we're general insurance industry professionals based in Perth, Western Australia. We're strong players in the game of insurance risk, and we're built on the foundations of trust, integrity, accountability, transparency, knowledge, and most importantly, partnership. Louis Christos started Interlink Insurance Brokers 35 years ago back in an industrial area of Perth, surrounded by an array of transport businesses. Just like the businesses that Interlink were surrounded by, we have grown and are now an insurance brokerage with over 35 staff members who have in excess of 500 years industry experience. We do love all aspects of transport. However, we also have specialists servicing the needs of customers involved in construction, resources, manufacturing, recruitment, warehousing, and the list goes on.
Okay, now your role there is with transportation?
Absolutely it is. My specialist area for me personally is road freight transport.
Okay, and that's how we came together, Penny. And so could you just tell us about what you do? With, of course, road freight in Western Australia is a huge part of the West Australia lifestyle because of the vast distances over there. So obviously it's a big industry. So that gives you a vast area to cover, and a lot of major transport companies and small owner-operators are covered in that industry over there.
With us and a lot of the businesses, especially transport businesses that we've seen, over the last number of years, a lot of them have had to adapt as a response to COVID-19, right? And I guess it's not just transport businesses that have had to adapt. It also includes our office. An example of how we've sort of helped and served our clients recently is it was only a number of weeks ago we were put into an immediate lockdown, and thankfully we were fully prepared, and our communication during lockdown was amazing, and everyone stepped up to support one another. At the same time, we do appreciate that the transport industry never sleeps, and even things like downtime can have a major impact. And we are so proud with how the transport industry has adapted to this, and us too. We've had to adapt to what the way our clients have adapted. We've had to change our way of doing business as well to make sure that we can cater for them. With us at Interlink, and insurance brokers can get a bit of a bad rap at times, and I just need to make it clear, we don't just sell insurance. Okay, that's not just what we do. We provide an array of services with respect of managing risk, and offer additional services, things like risk management, injury management, that kind of thing.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
Can I just, in your office, I noticed that being at International Women's Day was yesterday, in your office I noticed you have a large quantity of women in relation to men. Is it that equal, or is it the ratio higher for women? Because I met some of them at our dinner last year.
Yeah. So with respect of Interlink and their culture and who we are and the people here, it all starts at the top. Okay. If you look at our board, for example, it becomes very clear that there is a good representation of men and women making the important decisions. Okay. It includes our highly respected and founding director and chairman, Louis Christos, company director, Despina Christos, company director, Lucy Roberts, and our managing director, Tryon Christos, for making Interlink Insurance Brokers the business that it is today. Lucy Roberts has actually been with Interlink Insurance Brokers for the last 34 years and is definitely a leader in the Western Australian insurance broking industry. We are a predominantly female organisation, and we all come from diverse backgrounds, and irrespective of your gender, race, religion, political views, anything like that, we believe that everyone deserves a fair shot.
That's great. And is that what made you reach out to Transport Women? Because you obviously are in the trucking industry and you share our mission and our inclusion and diversity with that. And that relationship as our corporate member for us has been a very positive move. And do you see that from your side as well, that you can help us grow that and we can help you grow? And that is how that we see that, and that is very, very important, because growing the number of females in the trucking industry or the road freight industry is a really, really important thing to do at this moment.
Look, for me, I believe it's so important that we align ourselves with people who are passionate about the same things that we are. We would love to help increase the presence of women in the transport industry and also promote their ideas. Both the insurance industries and transport sectors are primarily male industries, and this is where sharing the core value of equality when met with diversity is so important. And I believe it's more important than ever to share our knowledge and ideas from a female's perspective. Since joining Transport Women Australia, I've found that we work really well together to support each other. And it's been quite simple, because all we've had to do is use our knowledge as a superpower, sharing it, empowering and educating those around us, and, you know, backing that with trust and integrity, transparency. And look, don't get me wrong, our industries are both, you know, they're already great industries, but let's do what we can to make our industries greater than what they are.
Exactly, and obviously you're very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about it, as you already know. And these things are built, the relationship starts out as a business relationship, but also eventually great friendships are formed, and that's where those passions go forward and you could do great things. And that's why I think as we bring more women into transport, mining, construction, all of that, it becomes, it makes a huge difference to not only to the industry and to our industry, but to the economy and to life in general, because it shows the next generation have role models to follow, and I think that's really important. But if you don't live your passion, it's very difficult, and you can see that in you from the moment you contacted us, that was how it was going to be. And just the fact that you stepped in so quickly when you offered this opportunity to come on board and to talk with us this morning just shows how passionate you are, not only about the insurance industry, but about the road freight industry as well. And as the road freight industry has had to step right up and change all their ways during COVID, and I think that's been just shown their versatility and how they can adapt. Their adaptability has been enormous, because they've just had to deal with things that they've never had to deal with before, especially with the border closures and the permitting and all of that. And it's just put so much extra pressure on them and on everybody who supports them. And I think that's just been an amazing thing in this country, when nothing just is done within the state when it comes to providing services, especially food services. They are so much of every produce and everything, and the manufacturing is all over state lines. And I think especially that east-west traffic was so impacted, but all of the freight was impacted, but it makes a huge difference. And that adaptability has just shown how strong we are and how quick we can react to any situation. And I think that is one of the biggest bonuses of road freight and of trucking. And I think we need to be very proud of what we've achieved over that last 12 months in your industry, in our industry, and in everything to do with the supply chain. I think we should be very grateful that we had that support, and that from our suppliers and from everybody outside the industry, that we're finally recognised as being able to do that. And we can hope that goes on in the future when things get back to normal. I think if we can do that, that will be fantastic. So I think, is there anything else you would like to say about Interlink, your role, or the industry, or Transport Women at all, before we finish up this morning?
I guess the main thing for me when it comes to, with Interlink, okay, and I guess this applies to a lot of organisations as well. It's the people within your organisation that are the key to your success. Without the right people and the right culture, it's really difficult to achieve this. And look, from Interlink's perspective, the best way I can describe our culture, and look, I had a big think about the words involved with this, and I've decided that there's not one word. It's a hybrid of words. It's a hybrid of words like we're corporate, strong, empathetic, hardworking, and loyal individuals, and we all share that common goal, which, not just for us, but these are all things that are important for all businesses, including transport, irrespective of, whether it's road freight, air, sea, rail. These are all so important to achieve that goal of success.
I think that's right. And I think if we remember all of those things, any company we work for is going to be successful, and they're going to appreciate everybody that works for them, because it's not only about being diverse, it's about including everybody. And if they all share the same values, they will be included. It's very hard to be included if you are on a different value train.
Yeah,
I think that's very important.
At the end of the day, one of the beauties of Interlink, and for me personally, is I'm so proud of the fact that I work in an organisation who listens.
Yes, yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have the right people in the right organisation, and they have been educated, empowered, and have the desire to do their job well. Then what more could you ask?
That's right. That's right. And I think that's important in an industry association. I think that's important in a company. I think that's important in your family. I think that's important in any walk of life. So I think if we just all work with that and appreciate each other, we're going to be in a much better place in the future.
Absolutely. Kindness is free.
Kindness is free. I think that might be the catch cry for the day. Kindness is free. I really, really like that, Pen. So I think we should finish up there. Thank you for watching the Driving Different Show. We're back with our next segment in just a moment. Thank you.
Think about the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, or even the furniture in your home. There is a story and history associated with every product you've ever bought. Unfortunately, sometimes the workers who make your products are subjected to terrible working conditions, are not treated fairly, or the manufacturing process is harmful to the environment. There are many forms of modern slavery and damaging production methods, but it's up to us, industry leaders and the consumers themselves, to take a stand so that we can contribute to a healthier planet and to changing the lives of everyone involved across the global supply chains for the better. Ethical Trade Alliance enables buyers to make informed choices on all of the products they purchase.
Welcome back to Driving the Different Show. I'm your host, Jacquelene Brotherton, and with me here is Tim Giles of Prime Creative Media, editor of Power Talk magazine. Welcome, Tim. Thank you for stepping up this morning and coming to speak with us.
Thank you for asking me.
So, Tim, thank you for tuning in from Queensland. Still a bit early in the morning up there, but thank you for doing that, especially stepping in at the last minute for me. So, Tim, you and I go back quite a long way, and you've had an editor of quite a few different magazines over that time, and also been a truck driver and had other roles in the transport industry. So very, very versed in our industry. And so definitely a great person to take over the role as editor of Power Talk when Prime Creative acquired it, I think, last year during the pandemic. Yep. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So Power Talk's been around a long time now, but only part of the Prime Creative Media stable for about 12 months. Would that be something like that, I think?
Actually, it's 3 months.
3 months? Wow.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
I think we acquired it sometime in December, and then I was told the following day, "You're now the editor of Power Talk." That was it was a bit of a rush, quite quick.
Well, you're the man for the job, so that's fine. So would you like to talk a little bit about Prime Creative Media and what they do and their scope in the trucking industry?
Yeah, well, Prime Creative Media is basically has grown in the last 20 years from one small trucking industry related publication to I think we are now the largest business to business publisher in Australia. It all grew from John Murphy. He comes out of a print industry background, and one of his clients was Trailer Magazine, and I think Trailer Magazine was struggling, and John was looking for some new avenues to develop his business, and sort of took it over and realised that the sort of potential that there was within business to business publications. Trucking industry has not been very well served by magazines, and there's several other industries which are the same. So now the first two publications were trucking related, and then over the years it's moved on. So now so now we've got 4 trucking industry titles. I think there's 3 coffee industry titles. One of which is, in fact, like one of the trucking ones is actually a global magazine. It's Global Trailer, just sort of talking about the global trailer industry. Same in the coffee industry. There's a global coffee magazine. And then over the years, it's been now involved with several mining media outlets, pipeline industry, waste. The list is endless. When I speak to him on the phone, I said, which magazines are we starting this week, John? That's the sort of. I've lost count of how many titles there is, but we're in the high 20s, I think.
And that's the thing with John. He sees an opening, or he sees a market, and he can fulfil that gap, and he has the right people and hires the right people to do it. He doesn't seem to miss a beat when he sees the opportunity. He's an excellent supporter of Transport Women, and he's an excellent supporter of the industry, but he's also a great reader of people, and he knows who to hire, how to get the best out of them, and then how to work on that. And he's just been so amazing to us, but also he is obviously very inclusive in his business with the hiring of his people, with male, female, and includes them in what he does. And you would have seen that in the time you've been with Prime Creative, a very inclusive workforce.
Yeah, and I don't see it as a deliberate policy on their part to be inclusive or to be diverse. It's just, I think within the organisation, the culture is such that everybody feels welcome in it, and that there is no barrier to entry. If you've got the correct attitude, you get a go. Basically, that's the way it seems to work. And I mean, like it's the Richard Branson principle, isn't it? You hire attitude, and you can train everything else, can't you? And so over the years, it's grown. I think basically the 50%, it's 50% male, 50% female in terms of the workforce. Of the management, the executive team, 3 out of 4 are women. But the diversity continues through various, it's as diverse a workforce as I've ever worked in, personally.
That's amazing. And John is just like that. Like, I'm a huge supporter of John Murphy, but he's a huge supporter of Transport Women. And he's been such a great help to me personally as I've struggled with some things coming through the Transport Women over the years. He's obviously was supporting them before I took over the chair's role either time, through that role, and has been a supporter through sponsoring, through being our media partner, and through helping us with the printing and graphics and all those sorts of things. And I don't really know how many years that's gone on. He's always been there for us. He's always supported us. He's a great champion of the women in the industry for us, and nothing seems to be a problem for him. We can't speak highly enough of him and of his magazines. They support the women in industry. They support our mission and our statements, and we just feel that we couldn't have a better backer. And his magazines are just so now. There was, as you say, there was not very many trucking industry magazines out there before, or the trailer magazines are out there now. And of course, even the magazine you edit now, Power Talk, and of course you've edited various other magazines before, Diesel and so forth. So Power Talk's been around a long time, and it came under the banner, obviously, I said 12 months ago, 3 months ago, under different circumstances. And where do you want to take that now? Will we be travelling along the same lines? I think it's been combined with something else.
The way the change has happened is we had Diesel, which was going in the right direction for us, and taking over Power Talk became available, and so we acquired it. And actually, the name Diesel for a magazine, it's okay now, but in 10 years' time, it might not be quite as relevant as it is at the moment. I mean, we are starting to talk about electric trucks. We're talking about hydrogen power. We're talking about gas. And for a lot of the trucks in the trucking industry in 10 years' time, I would suggest that diesel is not going to be very relevant. So therefore, we thought, well, if we got two names, we got Power Talk, we've got diesel. Which one are we going to go with? And long term, power. If you want to shift freight on a road, you're going to need power and you're going to need torque. So it's going to remain relevant no matter what happens to the industry.
That's correct, because it's always going to have to be powered by something and not necessarily by diesel. Thank you so much, Tim, for coming in this morning. I really appreciate giving up your time. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for tuning in to Driving the Difference show. We're hoping to welcome you back in the future to more episodes. Thank you.
With over 20 years of combined recruitment experience, Bastion is your trusted advisor for sourcing leaders. Technical experts in supply chain recruitment, Bastion uses a proven customer-focused delivery. Speak to a consultant today for your recruitment needs. Bastion, experts in sourcing leaders that deliver change.